Okay, so this is the final part of connection and extension, and I've just got down here 10 different qualities in those that connect well. So, those leaders who have an innate ability to pull people together to align to a common cause. And the photo on the first slide is Dan Quinn, who's the Atlanta Falcons head coach. So I met Dan at a leadership conference about a year ago, and I was invited to go and spend some time with the Atlanta Falcons. He's mid-40s, second year in his job, and he had created an amazing connection between him and his staff and his players. And it's no surprise to me that his team reached the Super Bowl final. And he certainly deserves all the credit he gets. And so I just want to go through some qualities. But before I do that, I just want to remind you, as I did on the previous topics, just about the importance of it and why, in relation to my world, how I try to connect people together to align them to that common cause and create that one team mentality. So going from a small group of coaches to a country, how you try and pull people together and achieve it. So I think the first thing is to say, obviously as a leader, you need self-confidence. And that self-confidence comes from experience, it comes from belief in your own philosophy, a track record of building relationships and building teams and being successful in that venture. And I think once you've got that, and you look at some of the great football managers, then they can screen the incoming message. So as a leader, you get lots of incoming messages, not literally on your email, but all the time from the media or from people who work for you. And it allows you to sift through the ones that that are relevant to you, that have an importance to you, and will help you grow the team, or those that are an energy leak that will create a distraction. And I think great self-confidence is a key attribute of those leaders. I think the second point is, when you're in that leadership position, it's not to forget that you've earned your right to your views. You've been put in the leadership position for a reason. People believe in you, people trust your opinion. You've obviously had a great track record of success in other leadership roles, and so don't shy away from it. I think people want a leader who has a point of view. Now, there are great examples in the political world at the moment. Now, that political view might polarize people, but you can't dispute the fact that people will follow someone who has a point of view, and I think you shouldn't shy away from having that, and you've certainly earned the right to do it if you're in a leadership position. I think the great leaders who can connect the best are those who have an unselfish attitude, and you always put others first. There are selfless and there are selfish leaders, and selfish leaders are successful to a point, but ultimately they're people who follow them will follow them for perhaps the paycheck rather than something else, which is a deeper sense of connection, where you follow the leader for who he is or who she is, rather than what title they have. And people with that positive pint glass half full mentality, who look for the right in people as opposed to what is wrong, they will always succeed in life and will always have people following them. Credibility is all about trust. Trust comes from self-belief and confidence. Low trust creates hidden agendas. So if people don't have trust in you as a leader, then your credibility clearly is not high enough. And self-belief and confidence are two keys to building your credibility. I've actually got a topic that's going to come further down the line on actually building your own credibility. And I would add to that in order to be credible in the eyes of the people that follow you, honesty, inspiring, forward-thinking and planning, and technical excellence are also key parts of building your credibility. And I'll talk a little bit later in further modules about the credibility graph and how you can build your credibility even if you don't really have a track record of success. Particularly for young leaders, it's important. I think acknowledging emotional contracts is another attribute I've seen in great leaders. Those who recognise the importance of not just the contract of work that ties people together, but the emotional contract, and they make people feel good about themselves. They make a invisible bond between you and the people they lead strong, and can strengthen that invisible bond like a rope, really, that thickens, an invisible rope that thickens between you and your employees or the people that you're leading. I think by acknowledging those emotional contracts, you can draw people together. I think this is huge. You often see leaders who claim the credit when perhaps it was everyone else who did the work, and claim the credit maybe when they should deserve the credit. But the great leaders are the ones who pass the credit on even when it's due, because it shows emotional depth. It shows that you don't need your ego to be fueled by being seen to be successful or the person who's in the spotlight because of what you've achieved. That glory should always go to the players or the people that you are leading. When you're a leader, people become what you tell them they are. Tell them how to feel. I think this is really true in a sporting context. Often when a game is finished and we've lost, the change room is a very quiet place, and it's at that point, even in the immediate aftermath of the game, you begin to shape someone's mentality and tell them how to feel. Say, listen, I thought we were unlucky today. You absolutely worked your socks off. You didn't quite get what you deserved, and one or two things didn't go our way. But we'll be a better team for this. And when we turn up on Monday, we'll review the game, and we're only going to get better. This will make us stronger, not weaker. So in a very short space of time, you can begin to tell them how to feel. And then when you review the game or the leadership moment or the opportunity that perhaps wasn't taken, you can shape people's mindsets, and people want to be told how to feel, and that's the art of great leadership. A fairly obvious one, but it's one that often gets missed. And again, the great leaders have a really clever way of making people feel good about themselves and creating wins for them. And by creating wins, so it might be you help them out at work, or you give them a leg up, or you give them an opportunity, even if it's something that's nothing to do with work, where you give them a weekend away with a husband or wife, or a meal for two. But you create a way to make people feel good about themselves. And if you do that, then, and you go the extra mile, that will enhance the relationship. And when we talk about that invisible rope that sits between two people, it gets thicker and thicker and thicker, and they will walk over hot coals for you. High performance is not so much about management, it's about skillful balance of your emotional energy. And I think I made this point in the last topic on connection and extension, about making sure you plug energy leaks, and also making sure you find time to recharge your batteries, and understanding what it takes to do that. Because as leaders, you're in the spotlight pretty much all the time, and take those moments and get that emotional energy right, because you're always on stage and people will always be following your lead. And ultimately, if you do that, then your goal as a leader is to make not just your leadership talent dance and get the best out of you and deliver your best performance, but grow leaders beneath you and watch with pride and joy as they become great leaders and take on other leadership roles. I often look at the great American football coaches who seem to have a dynasty of former players that used to coach who've now become coaches, and I think what a great thing that would be. I've actually got a few academy players now who I coached years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and now they're starting coaching now, and it's really rewarding to see people's leadership grow and their talent dance. So I hope you enjoyed that topic of connection extension. There are loads more to come, and I've got some leadership reading which I'll pass on as well, which you can download, which I think will be bedtime reading rather than bedtime listening. Okay, see ya.